This is Chuck Huber, the voice of Android 17. You're listening to Anime Seekers. You better be, or I'm coming for you. Dragon of the Darkness, flame!
All right, well, hello everyone. How is it going? So we are here today to talk about not Digimon Adventure 02, but the two Digimon Adventure films. I say films loosely because they're really, really short. But there were two. So we're going to talk about them both here, even though in continuity they take place at the beginning and at the end of the show. But regardless, the first one is just called Digimon Adventure. But with me today are, of course, introduce yourselves, people.
No. Patrick here, post headache. Help me.
Hi, I'm Diana.
I'm Riz. You should all know me by now, dang it.
Listen. This isn't Toku Secrets. Maybe they don't know who you are.
That's true. That's fair. But yeah, no, I'm Riz. I'm cool. I like Digimon.
Now, if you guys only are familiar with the English dub, you might be thinking, two Digimon movies? What are you talking about? The Digimon movie was three movies sort of fused into one with one continuous story, sort of. I don't want to get into that because it's really convoluted. But
You mean splicing three movies together to make one movie?
With somehow trying to make one coherent story about some kid named Willis, which doesn't factor until the end. It's stupid.
So let's start with the prequel.
Yeah, which is just called Digimon Adventure. And this one's really simple. It's mainly about Tai and Kari. The other six don't really factor into the plot at all. They cameo. I think the only one that speaks is Sora, if I remember correctly.
She says, "Come on, Tai."
Or in the Japanese version, she's like, oh, that boy, because she has no idea who he is. But
yeah,
really, all this movie is an egg comes out of a computer, hatches into a face, becomes a big dinosaur, and then fights a bird. That's it. Did I miss anything?
I mean, that is the basic plot of that first movie, is just giving a frame of reference to how stuff at Heightened View Terrence really began.
Yeah, that's it. It's just...
And
it doesn't factor much into the series, really, either. It's mentioned, like, twice.
Well, I mean, it kind of plays a critical role. Well, not a critical role, but it does play a role in the Vandemon arc. And then when they explain the origins of them in the Dark Masters arc, they use it as an explanation as to why it was them. But that's it.
That this Agumon is the same Agumon that Tai knows.
Which I always did like that excuse, Diana, because you mentioned that they're the ones that saw it, so they're the ones they were chosen. How the heck did no one else see this?
Right.
How do you
There's a giant dinosaur and a giant parrot fighting each other in a major street.
But they were driving.
Major street next to apartment buildings, and only 8 kids saw it. Yeah,
no, they were sleeping.
To be fair, the last battle is actually pretty entertaining.
The Greymon fight, yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's a pretty good fight.
It also makes no sense because Parrotmon's an ultimate, but
who cares?
Well, it's also Greymon.
What?
It's also Greymon.
Yeah, Greymon usually can't beat ultimates.
But this is Greymon. This is Tai's Greymon.
Apparently, according to Try, it's the same Greymon, which I still don't buy.
Yeah, I don't buy that either.
Like, no.
I mean, he's bigger than Masaru's Agumon by a lot, so no.
Huge! He's huge!
Yeah.
And he's a lot more hostile than the main Agumon that we know. And I mean, the only, like, significant thing in the plot is we kind of see Kari start to get sick, which is part of her character in the show. Other than that, there's not really much to this one.
Yeah, it's a very simple plot. There's not too much to it. My biggest things that I think I would want to bring up is I don't like the animation of this one versus some of the other movies that we've gotten.
I can agree
The
with that.
next one is much better animated.
It's the same studio though.
But Agumon is way more giant than he deserves to be.
Oh, so it's more
Yeah.
a character design thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I also don't like how big Agumon and Greymon are in this.
Has there ever been an explanation as to why that was the case, or like
See,
behind
I
the
always
scenes?
assumed it's because it was a different Agumon.
Yeah.
But then tries to say they're the same.
I
tend to just ignore what Try says.
I
think that's a true statement.
We're gonna try another.
You know
day.
what? I just thought of something. We're talking about the size of Agumon. Didn't they make so Angemon was not in this film? Angemon was, but and I know we're not talking about O2. Yes, he was. Angemon was.
He's not in this movie.
Didn't Patamon show up? No. Okay.
The only
We're talking about our war.
I'm confusing the O2 one, and I know we're not talking about O2, but I was just going to touch on that animation studio. They made Angemon and Angemon huge in that movie, so maybe this studio just likes big Digimon.
What Revenge of Diabomon or something?
Yeah.
Aren't they almost the same size as Omegamon in that movie?
Yes, they're huge, and in
I
the
know
show,
Omegamon is supposed to be a lot bigger than Angemon and Angelwomon. So,
it's weird because they were the same size, but then when Omegamon enters the real world, he's like 6 stories tall.
I think canonically he's like 29 feet tall. I
right?
think is how tall Omegamon is.
But
changing.
Yeah, but that also doesn't add up with the size of how Angemon and Angemon are displayed in the actual series.
In that O2 film in Revenge of Diaboromon, they're huge, and it's the same animation studio that did these first couple movies. And in the show, like I mean, I remember Angelomon carrying Kari, and she was like probably her shoulder to her hip. In the movie, she like sat on her shoulder.
Angelomon's supposed to be 8 feet tall, around there. Which doesn't make sense if Omegamon's supposed to be 30 feet tall.
Yeah, and that's fair because, even, again, touching on O2, I know we're talking about O1 movies, but even touching on O2 when TK and Kari were in the whole, what do you call it? The Dark Ocean, when Kari was in the Dark Ocean, Angelwoman carries her out, and she looks 8 feet tall. I mean, granted, Kari is a middle schooler, but she's probably like her shoulders to her knees. She's just looks like a tall woman carrying a child.
Kari's probably like what, 5 feet tall at most?
Yeah. But the point I'm getting at is this animation studio likes to draw Digimon really big.
Yeah, they do.
It's very strange, and I don't know why they went with that decision.
But the real meat and potatoes of this review is going to be our war game. Let's just call a spade here.
Yeah, so do we want to give a score to these things or nah?
I mean, the first adventure film is entertaining enough.
I'd give it a 6.
Maybe yeah, 6 is fair.
It serves its purpose, but it's not very in-depth. It gets most of its meat from the actual adventure in-series references that it gets.
You can almost skip it and miss nothing.
It's sort of like the Christmas tree. It's a tree skirt. If you have it, that's awesome. If you don't, that's okay too, because it's just a tree skirt.
That's a very bizarre description that actually makes a lot of sense.
It really does.
It's the cherry on top of the sundae. You could do without it, or you could have it. It's there.
See, my one comment I want to make on it though is this movie establishes some pretty big moments for Digimon Adventure, right? Like with Heightened View Terrorists and who are the Digidestined and all that, and why they're the Digidestined, because they witnessed a fight. But a lot of this stuff goes out the window and that recent Adventure 2 movie that came out last year in November.
I hate it.
I
Like-
haven't seen that yet. Don't
Oh,
spoil it.
the 0 to the beginning. Yeah,
Yup.
Yeah.
They did
I
away with it entirely.
Let's
said
keep spoilers out of it, by the way. for
yeah. I
Frankie's
said
sake.
what I said what I said in the review, but I think there was some missing context.
No, I think the context wasn't
Or-
missing. It's just that they
or
didn't
no.
think it through.
I think it's more so the characters in the movie didn't quite understand, or there's something else that they didn't put in there.
No, because you had Kari and TK there.
Or the writers are stupid.
Yes.
I mean,
I'm
the
agree with
Digimon Adventure series from season to season and from like, movie to movie and stuff, they tend to forget the finer details. I mean, even from Adventure to 02, there's a lot of
Oh God,
Like,
and try like,
miniature
they didn't
details that they
mention-
just completely forgot.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Try
didn't mention
was
that
even
the
worse
OTs
about it.
were-
The
Yeah,
Digimon
Try was
Adventure
even worse
continuity is a
about it.
mess.
Uh-huh.
And again, because Frankie hasn't seen it, and spoilers for this video, but the
Yeah,
fact
Will-
that they undid so much of the plot that they established in that first movie that we're discussing, I kind of had like a hard time swallowing that one, and I don't know what they were doing with that.
I do
but-
plan on buying the Blu-ray, so I'll watch it.
It's good. It's worth a watch. But
It's worth
definitely
one
needs-
watch.
I've seen the
it just
evolution
kind of-
scenes, and they at least look cool.
Because this movie we're discussing is a prequel. It is the foundation for this series that is 25 years old. So I just feel like to undo it in 1 hour is like, ooh, like it's been this way for 25 years, So in terms of this prequel movie, definitely is like foundations for the whole series.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the next film, War Game, takes place after Apocalymon's defeat. So this is after. And there's just like, I don't think they explain how he came into being, but this little virus Digimon is like eating data and just screwing with things. And Izzy
Did they
discovers it.
explain how he came to be? I don't think so.
No,
They tried
I think
in the original Japanese version. No, he's just a virus.
In the English version, doesn't Willis say he made him?
yes.
Yes, I hate the English dub.
Okay,
I'm gonna
but-
I'm gonna go into a whole rant about that after I'm done.
But remember, there is a new dub coming out for these movies.
Yes,
This is more
in
accurate.
December.
As far as
Japanese
I know, it's
version,
more accurate.
Just in English.
It's to be
But
more
it's-
accurate, and I actually intend to watch the dubs and maybe do a short follow-on review to this, talking about the
Yeah.
dub.
I will be buying that. I will be watching it, and I
The
will
music
join you for
will
that.
be straight out of the sub, the original
Yeah.
Japanese.
So
And the script
Braveheart
will
and
be
yep.
Oh, so
the
it's
script will be.
so it's actually proper dubbing for the first
Yes.
3 movies. Good.
They're
Yeah.
basically
Um,
fixing the sins of making the Digimon American movie.
The
Thank you.
original
They need
cast
that.
is returning for that, which, oh my gosh, it hurts me because I just want to know why they didn't return for Tri-Keys in our beginnings. But sure, they're returning, minus Felice, who is passed. She was Cody and Mimi. And then also the voice of Greymon is deceased. However, they got his son to play Greymon, and it is Bryce Papenbrook, if anybody knows him from anime.
I know him.
Yeah, so it's exciting that the whole cast is back. It's going to be super nostalgic. I'm going to be a little sad because I love the soundtrack for the English dub, but it'll be okay.
I want a
It's-
divorce.
It's hammy. I mean, here's the thing. The English dub OST, like the vocal tracks, they're hammy, but they're also catchy.
You run around, I run around. We're all gonna run around. Oh no, that's O2.
I'm going digital.
Like, there's something like you can't hate the songs even though they're stupid.
All my friends are metalheads is in there.
The fact that that was in this movie is
Yeah.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
Yo.
And then the
Anyway.
Shrek song is in here.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You remember Wendigomon dancing to
Hey now, you're an all-star.
Yeah.
He just dies.
He's so dead.
Anyway, so Izzy gets wind of this virus guy, and he's like, tie.
The egg is hatched. Not that egg. Sorry, I had to.
So Jedi's like,
Yep.
hey, take him out. And they're like, cool. And Gatomon just starts walking into a wall for some reason. Just like if you look at that scene with all like the 8-bit Digimon, Gatomon just walking into the wall.
Dude,
And
I don't understand that.
I never understood why she's just walking into the wall mindlessly.
She's glitching.
Diana, can you explain that? Because that's your Digimon pet.
She's glitching.
So
Why?
Tentomon and Agumon go into the internet to find this thing. It's evolved to the Karamon.
But so this is where I was getting confused earlier. Sorry, side note. But Patamon and Gabumon were there too because again, English
They
dub.
come.
Is
They
TK
come
on this
later.
ride?
They come
Not
later.
tall enough.
The initial assault is just Agumon and Tentomon. Gabumon and Patamon join them later.
Gotcha.
So they attack
there
him.
was a fight. There was a fight. Just Kabuterimon and Greymon. You're right.
Yeah, so he warp digivolves to Infamon. And he breaks an anime rule where he attacks them while they're evolving. I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do that in Digimon.
No, not in Digimon, no.
They're just all beat up, and he's like, oh. And Infamon's just like, bye! And he just leaves. Also, side note, Sora's mad at Tai, and Kari's at a birthday party. And all the other kids are just nowhere to be found.
Well, Joe's in a test.
Mimi's at the beach in, like, New York, I think?
No, she was in
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
She was in Hawaii. Yeah.
Hawaii.
Hawaii
So
is
she's
paradise, and I wish you were here. Sorry.
Mhm.
I can't resist. I love English dub.
So Sora's just like pissed off at Tai for a really stupid reason. And Matt and TK eventually are able to get there. Like on another computer, like, all right, we got your back. So Matt and Tai are like, you know what? We're not playing games. Screw it. And they go straight to War Greymon and Garurumon. And he's like, hey, guess what? I'm going to evolve to Diablomon now. And he attacks Patamon mid-evolution as well. Because Patamon tries to evolve. He's like, nope. And Tai gets all mad, smacks the computer, and War Greymon just crashes. And when he gets back online, he sees that Diablomon just massacred them.
Yeah, not the best moment.
Like, he just made them look like chumps.
Also, note, from what the subs say, Diablomon at this point is past a mega form.
I'm pretty sure he's a mega.
Yeah, because his champion form Chrysalismon was completely skipped over.
Yeah, because he warped to Infamon.
Yeah.
And Diablomon's at the mega level. He does have a beyond mega, but we'll get to that later.
We'll see him in a little bit.
But his grand plan is kind of chaotic. He wants to like take over a nuclear missile and just nuke everybody.
Yeah, can we talk about how for a Digimon who doesn't talk and is very animalistic in his motions, how intelligent he was? As in the dub, he was like trying to find Willis via phone calls. What he actually does in the movie is that he calls every phone number in the world to clog the phone line so nobody can call anybody else about him launching nukes. Like, he left the world in the dark while he did that.
Like, dude,
he was insanely intelligent and clever.
Are you saying the line "Hello, did you program me" was not in the original?
No.
I didn't watch that, guys.
Yeah, in the original version, he launches nukes from a military base in was it the North North Central United States, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he aimed them to Tokyo. And in order to make sure that the United States couldn't contact Tokyo, he clogged every phone line in both countries by calling them all simultaneously.
Like, this guy, I want to argue, I don't know if he's the most powerful Raw, but he's the most dangerous enemy from the original Digimon Adventure.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the strongest, but most dangerous. Absolutely.
I mean, this is how I determine that he isn't. Piedmon screwed up Wargreymon and Middle Garurumon pretty easily. If Diabomon was lag switching, Wargreymon and Middle Garurumon would have bodied him.
Until he multiplies.
Yeah. He needed to cheat to be able to beat those two.
Because he starts multiplying, and Ty and Izzy are getting emails from kids about how Wargreymon's a chump, how Metal Garurumon sucks. I think what happened here was the emails were actually slowing Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon down.
They are.
And that's part of what gave Diabomon an advantage. But they figure out, yo, this guy's about to nuke us. We gotta stop him. So Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon are like, yeah, we took a beating. We're gonna stop him. We got you. They don't got you. Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon are basically at death's door. They can't beat. How many Diablomons was it? Like 1 million?
Yeah, there was 1 million and counting at one point.
And there was no freaking way that they were going to stay. They couldn't. And they were basically at death's door. Ty and Matt get in there because they're like, we can't let our homies die. And through the power of nice tweets and nice internet comments, we have what is arguably the most iconic Digimon moment ever. I don't think this is even arguable. Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon fuse together into Omegamon, or Omnimon if you're a dub purist. Still my favorite Digimon, fight me, I don't care. And within what, 20 seconds, he kills all but one of the Diablomon clones?
Something like that.
He just chump change. He don't care. There's only one left, and it's the original. But he just can't catch him. Until Izzy's like, I'm going to forward you all the emails. And then Omegamon stabs him through the face. But you don't see him delete. Keep that in mind. You do not see him delete.
There's a reason for that.
Yep, but he's defeated. The plan stopped. And that's that. The nuke peacefully lands in the water. And they won.
And something that the dub never did is that during the credits, Sora actually apologizes for being, I guess, angry and like thanks Taichi for the hairpin. It's actually a cute moment that I'm mad the dub cut out.
Something I want to talk about too, real quick. Difference between sub and dub. In the sub, Omegamon never says a word. He doesn't speak.
Actually, I do want to comment on the evolution sequence for Omegamon. Whatever the song it is they chose, I think it's a Gregorian chant of some kind, is so perfect for this.
I still think this is probably the most iconic moment in all of Digimon animation.
Outside of Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon's first evolution, probably,
to the point where they made a whole reboot series based on Omegamon.
And barely used him in it.
The logo is his face. He's like the centerpiece of the whole show, and he shows up 3 times.
Let's not start talking about Adventure 2020, or we'll be here forever.
Yeah, but
let's save that for in the future.
This, I think, is much more critical to the adventure story than the prequel movie is.
Well,
think
because Omegamon makes appearances in future things. He's in Try a few times. He's in Last
Evolution
Evolution.
Kizuna.
But also, this movie ironically gets brought back up after Pyldramon shows up in 02 with Koshiro explaining, this isn't the first time we've seen this. And that was actually kind of cool to see them acknowledge the movie a little bit.
It was. And, but no, Patrick's right. Omegamon, for a
Also,
long time,
yeah, also, we do...
their...
I'll say we do see, what was Yoli's Japanese name again? Was it Miyako? Miyako and what's his name from Tamers?
Rio.
Rio's in. They both make cameos in this movie.
Because I think Rio is originally from the Adventure continuity.
Yeah. How does that happen? There's 2 games that we never got here in the United States that explain that.
But for a long time, especially in movies, Omegamon is basically their trump card.
Yeah.
But
he's always called in whenever he's needed, and he goes away as soon as he's not needed.
He's a last resort.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you think Izzy got the email address to Diablomon to even send him the email?
Diablomon emailed him at the beginning a few times. He had his email address.
That's true.
But Patrick brought up a point that I've never really thought about, is that Diablomon is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy knew what he was doing. He wasn't just a mindless monster. Like, he had a plan. And he almost won.
Yeah, he basically had him beat. Even when Omegamon was out, he was just bouncing around the room trying to stall for time.
If an Omegamon had appeared 2 minutes earlier, Diablomon was done for. But
yeah.
Because, like, you could out... Eventually, Omegamon was going to be like, no, you're dead. You're dead. But between Diablomon and Omegamon, I feel like the stakes in this movie are a lot higher than the previous one.
You mean the Adventure movie?
Yeah.
There are no stakes in that movie.
There's borderline no stakes in that movie. This is like an entire city in Japan getting wiped off the map.
I mean, okay, so what do y'all think? Do you think this has more stakes than the entirety of Season 1 Adventure?
Almost.
I think this has more stakes on it because there's a nuclear war brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Diablomon, in 30 minutes, showed how dangerous he was even compared to, say, Apocalypse. Not that he's more powerful, but he's a lot scarier. Even though Apocalypse freaking demented. He's a lot more threatening, I'll say. Compared to Piedmon, I'd say Diablomon's a lot more threatening. Actually, compared to all the Dark Masters, really. Yeah, no, the stakes in this movie... The only other movie that really has the similar stakes is Revenge of Diaboromon.
Yeah, the sequel.
It's the same guy!
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to do it. The Digimon movie dub really pisses me off with this. Because you're trying to tie in 3 movies together in one cohesive story that really shouldn't be tied together. Especially since I don't think Golden Hurricane is canon.
It's not.
It's not, even though Willis has been made a couple of cameos in a couple of the movies since then.
Just because you have a cameo doesn't mean the story you were in is real.
Yeah.
Stan Lee has cameos in all the Marvel movies.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about...
Okay, but Stan Lee is basically the Watcher in the Marvel movies.
But, like, they try to say Willis or Wallace, whatever his name is, created Diablomon? And then the virus of Diablomon infected Lopmon? Like, no. No. Doesn't work that way. Like, I could see them putting the 2 adventure movies as one theatrical release because it's both the first season. Okay, fine. But then throw in the 02 cast at the end and then just take away the spotlight just bugged me. It rubbed me the wrong way. Especially if you go from this high of Omegamon to high Magnamon. I've already been in the show. What's up? I don't know. It bugged me. And then, like, I feel like giving Omegamon dialogue took away from the scene.
Well, you know how the original English dubs were. We had to fill. There was no such thing as, ambience.
I don't think Omegamon spoke until Last Evolution Kizuna.
Yes.
That was the
first time he spoke. Yeah.
It was kind of a critical moment, so it was like, whoa, Omegamon could talk.
Yeah. He finally spoke after he got some of his limbs cut off.
Yeah. Well, no,
Ow.
he screamed for Ty and Matt because they were in danger.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and then he got ripped to pieces. I still think this is probably my favorite Digimon movie. This and Kizuna, I would say.
And this, just because there's not many holes to this movie, and it is an important player in the adventure continuity. But also one thing that I think needs to be established, even though it's been talked about hundreds of times, this movie was used as the foundation for Summer Wars, which is also a really good movie.
Yeah.
Summer Wars
and a lot
is amazing.
Of the this might just be me, but a lot of the aesthetic of the movie, I feel like they pulled over for Cyber Sleuth. Cyber Sleuth reminds me a lot of this too. If you played Cyber Sleuth.
It's very the art style for this movie, for the 4 adventure movies and for Summer Wars, because it was all the same animation studio, they use very heavy borders for their character models, and this very unique shading pattern that adds like a unique lighting dynamic to everything, and I love how it looks, especially in the cyberspace where everything has like a reddish hue to it.
Yeah,
there's just something cool about how it looks. And if you've never seen Summer Wars is essentially the plot of this movie, but without the Digimon moniker on it, and it's like a full feature-length film. It's really good if you've never seen it.
It's really awesome.
I've been meaning to watch it. I just never got around to it.
It also has the same kind of art style.
Yeah, it's the same animation studio.
Diana, what do you think? I think we lost her, boys.
No, I couldn't figure out how to get the mute off.
The button on the bottom that says mute.
Because my fan is going. I'm sorry, what was the question?
I said, what do you think of this movie? Because everyone else has basically given their opinion.
I like it.
Straight to the point.
No, I like it. I agree. I wanted to say earlier that because I was sitting and thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know if it's a dumb thing to say, but it's when you were talking about like the threat of him, I was thinking Myotismon came into the real world, but he was just terrorizing people in the television. His own henchmen. Right, that too. But he was just on the hunt for Kari, the 8th Digidestined, the partner of, blah, blah, blah. And so he was like a terrorist, right? And he just was striking in one area. With this film, it was around the globe. It wasn't just like one country, like several countries were involved, and it was affecting televisions, and it was affecting telephones, and it was affecting the trains and the subway systems, and I mean, we're talking like big deal to everyone of all ages.
And also when you think about the possible ramifications on if Diabomon actually succeeded,
Yeah.
There's a chance Japan could have thought that the United States just launched a nuclear
Oh,
assault
yeah.
on them for no reason, and then
yeah.
World War III starts.
That
Absolutely.
might have been Diablomon's goal all along.
It might have been
Have
because
the humans destroy
Diablomon was
themselves.
actually because Diablomon was inspired by the Y2K bug. If for those of you that
Yeah.
were around when that was a thing,
Yeah.
Everybody-
Oh
I
my god, that's right. He was.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, for the Y2K bug, for those of you that don't know, when we went from 1999 to 2000, there was this fear that flipping to the new year was going to screw up like technology around the world. And it was a valid fear because, and Riz could probably explain this to me better because he's more of in like the coding and stuff than I am, but it was because of like what internal clocks on devices were so used to having 19 in the front that having the date flip to like 2000 was going to cause like coding errors and a lot of like automated scheduling for like trains and stuff, and it would cause problems. And that's really what the real concern was. But some people also took it as everything's just going to blow up.
Family Guy did a bit about that.
Yeah, that whole episode where like planes just fell out of the sky and everything. Yeah. So they took that idea of technology shutting down and rockets firing off and it was like, hey, let's just make that a Digimon.
Right.
And still one of the most iconic villains in the franchise.
And now
Yeah.
that you've put it that way, Patrick, I think I respect the plot more because
Yeah.
I always thought it was a very ingenious plot where it's like, oh, like he literally, like it's further than just I'm Digimon, roar, I'm bad, I
Yeah.
attack, you know. It was pretty well premeditated,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now that you're telling me that it was actually like homage to an actual thing that we went through, yeah, totally respect
The
it way more.
crazy
That's
part,
of metal.
he was microseconds from victory.
Literally.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing as the resident computer software engineer in the group
Yeah.
that Patrick, you did a pretty good job explaining that, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if you were gonna like clear up any of the things I got wrong, but from what I read up on
No,
what was the real
that's fairly
issue,
accurate.
yeah.
Basically, people just wanted to avoid having to write 2 more bytes of data, being the 1 and the 9. So
Yeah, because it was the first time in the era of technology where the 19 wasn't going to be in the front of the year, and they didn't know how a lot of these automated schedulers were going to handle flipping to 2000. And
now, I will say I have a fun story related to something more recent than Y2K.
Oh, lordy.
okay.
So I have a Honda CRV from 2009,
Right.
and it has a clock on it, right? Like most cars have
Mhm.
a clock on it.
Yeah.
The problem is, whoever designed the computer for my Honda's clock set it to be I think it was in computing terms, I think it was a float number, or maybe no, it's like a int 16. I don't know. It's something small. It's a small set of number, meaning once you exceed a certain value, you roll back to 0 again.
You roll back to 0, yeah.
So around 2021 or 2022, my clock reverted from 2022 to 2002.
Oh, shit.
And now my clock, I think it's actually in 2005 right now.
Oh,
That's
my
hilarious.
God.
You see, I didn't know where you were going with this because the clock in my car doesn't have years in it. It's it doesn't have years in it. So I didn't know this was a thing, but that makes a whole lot of sense.
So, Rizbon, what's it like being a time traveler?
I hate it here.
But I'm not going to give this score often in this review series. It's just not going to happen. But this is a 10 for me.
Yeah, I would say the same because this is one of the best bits from the Digimon anime that we've gotten. It doesn't have any slow parts. The animation, this is the best the Digimon series I think has ever looked, even to this day.
I think this is just generally the most beloved piece of Digimon animation.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, I would say that that's
Yeah.
a general consensus for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It also did a decent job of kind of portraying where the kids were following
Post-adventure,
adventures
yeah.
and prior to Adventure 2.
It doesn't make the power scaling any better. Ty and Matt are still better than everyone, but you know, whatever.
Don't worry, we'll have instances in a few seasons where they amplify that and make it worse.
Yeah, 2020.
No, I'm talking about Frontiers.
Frontier's the worst with that. Oh my
Here, this
god.
is 4 of you aren't going to be able to do anything anymore.
Literally,
Screw
like
you.
the last 10 episodes. The last 10 episodes, they just stand around and go, "Oh wow, I wish we were as cool
And
as
then
the
they
goggle
still
head
get
and the
beat up,
friendship
so it doesn't
guy."
matter.
Yeah, no. And then Takuya and Koji get their butts kicked for like 8
I'm
episodes
so glad
straight
we
anyway.
came to the digital world.
Anyway, what are Riz and Diana going to give this film?
Where what?
What are you guys going to rate this movie?
I give it an 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
You monster.
Way to ruin our perfect score, Diana.
What a monster.
Rizwan, what do you give it?
I would have liked to have seen this be a full feature movie. So that knocks off a half a point to 9.5.
Go watch Summer Wars if you want the feature-length movie.
I have seen Summer Wars. We're going to review at some point, Patrick. Now that I know
So
you've seen
that
it.
averages out to a 9.4
I need to
out of
rewatch
10.
it, though. Is it on? I'll ask you after this. I do need to rewatch it. It's been a few years.
Hey, Frankie, what was that score you were averaging?
The average score of all 4 of our scores is 9.4.
Cool.
That works.
So next time we decide to enter the digital world will be for Digimon Adventure 02.
God dang it.
Oh boy, oh boy.
That video is going to take like 2 hours because it's just going to be me verbally ripping the show a new butthole.
So you mean 4 hours?
Hey, that's my favorite season.
It'll be 6 hours because you two will argue about what's good and what's bad.
So thank you guys so much for listening, and take care.